Ladies, gentlemen, and all variations thereupon, welcome to the first annual Harbos, the award ceremony where I award the very best and very worst of Doctor Who. Since we are at the end of the decade and there was only one Doctor Who episode this year, I thought this would be a good time to hand out awards based on the last decade of Doctor Who on television. So grab your popcorn and keep a firm grip on your pitchforks, because it is now time for the Harbos to begin. Doctor Who has always been known for its wide array of monsters and villains, but it is sometimes hard to stand out in a crowd when you are a fresh face. This award is designed to recognise the new villain that manages to capture the imagination and leave a memorable mark on viewers. And the winner is The Silence. Making their debut in the Series 6 premiere, The Silence immediately made an impact. They have a unique and creative premise of making you completely forget about them once you look away. This led to some amazing visuals, and they became arguably the most iconic villain of the Matt Smith era. The Silence definitely deserve this award. Wait, what won this award again? As much as Doctor Who is known for its creative writers and producers, directors are often left to the side and underappreciated. Well, thanks to this award, we can finally celebrate the work of the best directors Doctor Who has to offer, and the first ever winner of the Harbo Award for Best Director is Rachel Talalay. Rachel Talalay is hands down the greatest director of the last decade of Doctor Who episodes. She directed a total of 7 episodes, with 5 of those being series finales. Talalay directed every series finale during the Peter Capaldi era, along with Twice Upon a Time, the final episode for both Capaldi and Stephen Moffat. Talalay's episodes have a unique, cinematic look to them, particularly episodes such as Heaven Sent. Her direction elevates all of these episodes to all-time classics, meaning she is without a doubt the director of the decade. The Matt Smith era of Doctor Who was one of the most successful since the show's revival in 2005. It managed to retain the audience and popularity of the David Tennant era, launching the show into an international phenomenon. So the award for Best Matt Smith episode goes to The God Complex.
People being snatched from their lives and dropped into an endless shifting maze. It looks like a 1980s hotel with bad dreams in the bedrooms.
Whilst not one of the obvious candidates, Series 6's The God Complex is undoubtedly the best episode of the Matt Smith era. Written by Toby Whithouse, The God Complex is an exploration of faith and how it affects people. The episode clearly takes inspiration from The Shining and 1984, placing the characters in a desolate hotel where everyone has a room containing what they fear enough to break their faith. The main cast does a fantastic job, with Matt Smith's 11th Doctor having to break Amy Pond's faith in him. It is definitely deserving of this award. Every coin has 2 sides. Even though the Matt Smith era was hugely successful, it had its fair share of stinkers. In this case, the worst episode of the Matt Smith era is Let's Kill Hitler. Let's Kill Hitler is one big confusing ball of meh. It tries to surprise you, with River Song appearing at the earliest point in her timeline, but it does this by shoehorning in a brand new character and pretending she was there all along. It's not exactly a surprise when Mel turns out to be River Song, because we had never seen her before this episode. If Mel had been an integral part of the show before this point, it would have made the reveal actually good. Let's Kill Hitler doesn't really know what it wants to be. All it does is serve to introduce the Deus Ex Machina of the Series 6 story arc. It's just a huge disappointment, meaning it fully deserves this award for being the worst episode of the 11th Doctor era. The Peter Capaldi era of Doctor Who was very different from the previous 3 Doctors. Showrunner Stephen Moffat had already been in charge for 4 years, so with the 12th Doctor he really let himself loose, with highly experimental and high concept episodes. But the best of them all is Heaven Sent. I doubt this one was any surprise. Heaven Sent has become one of the most acclaimed and beloved Doctor Who episodes, and for good reason. Every part of it just combines to create a truly memorable experience. Moffat's writing and Capaldi's acting are both stellar, with Rachel Talele's direction creating an atmospheric and cinematic look for the episode. Heaven Sent deals with the Doctor coming to terms with Clara's fate in Face the Raven, determined to seek vengeance on whoever was responsible. There are some amazing sequences, and the episode's big twist is one of the best in the whole show. It fully deserves this award. The Peter Capaldi era of Doctor Who is often described with the words bad writing. Even though I personally disagree with this, there were definitely some bad 12th Doctor episodes. But the worst of them all is The Eaters of Light. The Eaters of Light is the first New Who episode to be written by a classic Who writer, but it's just boring and forgettable. There are some redeeming qualities, such as showing the Doctor's self-destructive and suicidal need to help everyone, but apart from that, it's just not very memorable, and the monster is just okay, I guess. I don't think it's any surprise that this episode holds the record for the New Who episode with the lowest TV ratings, with a viewership of just 4.73 million. Whilst we have only had one series of episodes with Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor, we still have to give out an award for the best of her era so far. So the award for best 13th Doctor episode goes to KaBlam. Okay, so misguided moral message aside, I thought KaBlam was the best episode of the Hit and Miss Series 11. KaBlam was written by Pete McTighe, who is a long-term Doctor Who fan. The episode follows the Doctor and her companions as they investigate the intergalactic delivery company, Space Amazon. KaBlam. The episode kind of feels like a Davies era episode, with a chase scene taking place on a conveyor belt with bad CGI. I love it. KaBlam just feels more Doctor Who than the rest of Series 11, which tried to change things up too quickly. It's just a nice little episode, and it managed to make bubble wrap scary, which hadn't been done since Ark in Space. So good job, KaBlam. The Jodie Whittaker era has already had some really bad episodes, and I mean really bad. But the undisputed worst episode is the Battle of Ransk. The Battle of Ranskor.
What?
The Battle of Ransacaprius is without a doubt the worst series finale I've ever seen in any show ever, and I've seen all 7 seasons of Pretty Little Liars, so that's saying something. The Battle of Rancid Al Cologne is just so disappointing and a complete waste of time. The big villain is that blue guy with the teeth on his face from the premiere.
Oh my god, it's him, he's here, it's real! Who's that?
The plot is a badly rehashed version of The Stolen Earth, but a lot less interesting. There are just no sense of stakes, and it just doesn't feel like a finale at all. It just feels like a regular episode, and it literally has Jedi in it. Why? We've given awards to the best episodes of each Doctor's tenure, but which of those episodes deserves the award for the overall best episode of the decade? Heaven Sent. It's a no-brainer. As I said before, this episode is truly amazing. Even though it's also the most overrated episode of the decade, it's just fantastic. If you haven't already seen it, watch it immediately. I can't say enough good things about Heaven Sent. It's time for one of the biggest awards of the night, Best Series. Doctor Who has had 7 series in the 2010s, but which one deserves to hold the title of the best? Well, the winner is Series 9. Okay, pitchforks down. Series 9 is often lambasted as the worst series by a lot of people, but this is my award show, not theirs. I love Series 9. It's a very experimental series, with almost every episode being a two-parter, and almost every episode is fantastic. Well, apart from that one with Maisie Williams and the Lion Man. That one was a bit This series has Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman at their absolute best, with both pulling out amazing performances each episode. The trilogy of Face the Raven, Heaven Sent and Hellbent is phenomenal, although the overall storyline of the hybrid was a bit confusing and badly handled. The series as a whole, however, is the most consistently good series of New Who, and I'm not ashamed to award it the best series of the decade. Okay, so we've talked about the best series of the decade, but which is the absolute worst? Well, please keep your pitchforks down, because the award goes to Series 11.
Oops.
Hey, I said keep the pitchforks down. Series 11 just didn't do it for me. As mentioned earlier, Chibnall and his team tried changing everything far too quickly. It was like a shock to the system, and not in a good way. There was no easing into it, it just happened. Every episode is completely standalone, which means they often feel rushed and underdeveloped. At times it even felt like a completely different show, almost like it was just a generic sci-fi time travel show. The main cast felt too bloated, with 3 companions straight off the bat, and no time to develop their characters or give us any reason to care about them. Also, no cold opens. How dare they take away cold opens? There has been a Christmas special every year until 2018. Each of these specials is wildly different from the others, but which was the best of them all? And the winner is Last Christmas. Last Christmas is not only an amazing Christmas special, but it is also an amazing Doctor Who episode. Last Christmas reunites the Doctor and Clara after their separation in the Series 8 finale. It has an inventive villain in the Dream Crabs, which latch onto your face and induce a dream state as they slowly kill you. This provides fertile ground to explore Clara mourning Danny Pink's death and her gaining a sense of closure. This episode also sees great performances from Nick Frost as Santa and Faye Marzi as Shona, who would have been the next companion for the Doctor, until Jenna Coleman decided to stay on the show. It's just a great episode. Companions are one of the biggest aspects of Doctor Who. The Doctor always needs someone to travel with. It's a staple of the show. This award is designed to recognise and celebrate the best companions the show has to offer. The nominees for the best companion of the 2010s are Amy Pond, Clara Oswald, Rory Williams and Graham O'Brien. And the winner is Clara Oswald.
Run, you clever boy.
Despite being the most polarising companion this side of Adric, Clara Oswald was a breath of fresh air after 2.5 series of the Amy Pond show. After her initial introduction in Series 7 as the Impossible Girl, Clara became one of the most compelling and complex companions, eventually aspiring to become like the Doctor himself, which caused her downfall. Jenna Louise Coleman brought a lot to the companion role, transitioning from the airy Series 7 Clara to the more heroic and Doctor-like Clara of Series 9. Along the way, Clara challenged the Doctor's very nature and scrutinised his morally ambiguous decision-making. This created an incredibly interesting dynamic between the pair, with their toxic friendship forming a 2-series-long arc. Say what you will about Clara, I personally believe that she was without a doubt the best companion of the 2010s. And now it's time for the most important award, Best Doctor. There have been 5 actors to portray the Doctor in this decade, but only one of them can take away the award for the best. And the winner is the 12th Doctor.
My good man.
The 12th Doctor is a controversial incarnation of the Doctor due to his abrasive personality during Series 8. However, Peter Capaldi brought so much to the role, always playing perfectly off his surrounding cast. As a childhood fan of the show, he provided a deep nuance to the Doctor, along with some truly memorable performances. Even with some bad scripts, Capaldi always gave it his all, and elevated episodes by simply being in them. I like the 12th Doctor's blunt humour and awkward social interactions. It makes him seem more alien. I'd even go so far as to say he's the greatest Doctor of all time. And that about does it for the first annual Harbo Awards. It's been a huge decade for Doctor Who, so hopefully the next decade is just as good. Do you feel like anyone or anything was snubbed in these awards? Let me know how wrong I was in the comments, and I'll see you next time.